Hello. This is the most awkward part when I first come on and say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Feel like you're talking to yourself, even though we've just been talking for 5 minutes.
It's all right. Nobody's going to come and watch us. We'll just chat between ourselves. It'll be fun.
Hi guys, how you going? Hello everyone in the chat, and I'm sorry to anyone who was in here waiting an hour ago when I scheduled it for the wrong time. Oh my God, how could I schedule a live stream in the UK soccer match of the year?
I didn't even twig. This is the crazy thing. And then I was so engrossed in the game, I'd lost track of time anyway. And then when it went into extra time, it was like, we need to reschedule. So yeah,
we postponed it.
It happened.
Yeah,
but we won, so it's fine. We won.
I had some of the other UK guys messaging me going, it's going into extra time. You need to change this. I'm like, I didn't know. Oh, hello everybody. So thanks everyone for coming in. I can see there's quite a few of you in the chat. If anybody doesn't know Nic, which I'm sure you all do, he's like reseller, been around forever, haven't you?
I like that. Reseller been around forever. That sums it up. Thank you. Yes, perfect.
He's the reseller who's been around YouTube forever, and I'm pretty sure most people will probably know Nic. But Nic, do you want to introduce yourself for anyone that might not?
Yeah. So I am a reseller in the UK. We're based near London, so southeast. I've been doing this since the 90s and full-time since 2002. I work with my wife and we run a YouTube channel, which we've been running now for 7 years, I want to say, I think. And we buy and sell pretty much whatever we can get our hands on. We're not specialists. We've tried to specialize a couple of times in clothing and Lego, and drove me mad. I get bored. So I buy and sell. If you watch my videos, you'll see it's whatever we think we can make money on. Andrea tends to do the vintage collectible stuff. I do anything with a margin. That kind of sums us up.
But you love media.
I do. That's my background. Yeah, I met my wife in a record shop in 1996. Yeah, passionate about music, and I love buying and selling media. My first ever business in 98 was a record shop.
Yep.
So that runs through my blood. A lot of people think, why do you bother with the media? There's no money in it. But I love it and enjoy it. So I carry on doing it.
I think sometimes like people do the same as me with the books. Like, why do you worry with such low-end books? But I just find like I like selling the books. So I think it really helps if you like what you sell. So like it makes it such because it is a bit of a grind doing eBay. So it can make it so much more enjoyable if you like what you're selling. Yeah,
and if it suits your business model and it's working for you, then fine. Obviously, if it's not working, you need to change it up. And we've kind of seen that. I mean, the topic of this, I think you've loosely said about kind of how things evolve and where we're going from here and taking chances. And it's been good to see how your business, since I've started watching you, how long have you been on YouTube now? Is it 2 years?
Yeah, probably about 2 years was like when I first started. I didn't really I kind of really picked up YouTube more this year. I've worked harder on it this year. Last year I did mainly just like live streams and chats with other sellers and kind of got myself in with the community and met a lot of people and did a lot of like streaming like that. Whereas this year I've gone more to the making the actual videos and the pre-recorded and putting a little bit more time and effort into it, I guess.
But the point I was going to make was that watching you're not scared to drop something and change, do a complete 360 and start going in a different direction, which has been fascinating because you were doing clothes like nothing else, buying cars full of clothes. And then next minute I do books.
Yeah. Totally changed the whole,
when did that happen?
Totally changed the whole business model, like from Well, yeah, I was selling clothes and shoes and plush toys and media and a bit like you, anything I could find that I thought I would make money on, I was open to picking up, but primarily clothing. And yeah, then COVID kind of hit, book sales were going through the roof and I just kept picking up more and more books. And next minute I was attracting all these books and moved over to books full time. So it's funny how it happens. But I think I've always been like that in So since for the last 20, my daughter's 20, I've been working from home since she was born. So 20 years I've been working at home, and I've tried multiple different types of businesses. And that's one thing about me, I've never been afraid to like take a risk or try something new, or if something's not interesting anymore, I just move on. Like I don't know if sometimes it's probably not a good thing, because it's a little bit of that roller coaster and you don't have that steady sometimes, but I get a bit like you, I get too bored. I can't just sit still.
Well, I think it's something in the reselling world. I think if you're not prepared to adapt, you can certainly miss out on opportunities. Or if you're not able to be brave enough to drop something because it's not working for you and change and accept that you need to change, you can struggle. I think. I don't know. I agree with you that it can be a bit of a curse, the changing things up too much. Maybe I've suffered from that as well. I don't know.
I think it can be hard to get into your groove. Like when you're constantly changing things, you're constantly going up, down. So then it can be hard to kind of find that groove. And sometimes, I get to that point where I'm feeling exhausted. I think if I stopped for a second and stopped changing everything, then maybe like life would be a little bit calmer. But I don't know.
But I think watching you now, when you're really setting things up and you're laying the groundwork for working from home, bringing your overheads down, consolidating everything, it's like a new start. Is that how you see it? No?
Yeah, absolutely. And like when COVID hit and the books were taking off, and the book sales were really strong, and to be honest, they've been strong ever since. They've never really died off at all in this last 12 months. But it doesn't mean, like, if the book sales died down, I would be open to bringing in other stuff as well. Again, I know how to sell clothes and everything else, and I wouldn't be like, oh, but I only sell books now and they're plummeting because nobody's buying them now because of COVID. Like, if I would just chop and change again and start mixing in other items with the books. So I'm not afraid to kind of do that. Like, while the books are working for me, I'll continue to do them because I enjoy doing 100% books almost. So I'll keep doing that way. But if I need to change, or if I find something else that interests me, like, I will just bring it in and change again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not married to it. And I've done many of these chats. I think we had a similar chat, didn't we? Maybe a year or so back. And we had the similar discussion. And I said that I'm not tied to this. And if something better comes along, I'll do that. And we're kind of trying to push that a bit now. We're trying new things and seeing what happens. We're taking a chance on a big project now that I know you know about.
Yeah.
And who knows where that's going to take us, right? It's a huge gamble, really. But for those that don't know, we're right in the middle of developing an app for thrifters, and we're hoping to get something out within a month. And we've no idea, what's going to come of that, whether it'll be a success, whether it will ever make any money, whether it'll even be a viable business, or whether it's just going to be a useful tool for resellers. We've no idea. But we're putting the money on the line and trying is the point.
I was going to say, it's a bit of a risk, isn't it? Because it's not a cheap, it hasn't been a cheap thing for you to do, to develop the app. And, you have to get, businesses, business companies set up and businesses set up, and all your logos, things like that. Well,
the way we've managed it, we've gone into business with a developer. So it's kept the cost down, but we've had to give away equity in a new company. It was either that or we were going to crowdfund it, and I just saw that as delaying everything and making it super complicated. So we've chosen to split the equity in the company and make it happen quicker. So that's what we've done. But it's been a headache to get to this point. Absolutely. And we're still not there. So in fact, tomorrow I'm spending all day with the developer just working on the functionality of the app. Yeah. And hopefully we'll get something out soon, version 1.
I mean, it's going to be exciting once it launches. But, once something like this launches, do you have to do much, much with it ongoing, or is it like they build the app, it goes onto your iPhone, people click on it and buy it? Like, do you have to do much after you've actually built the app, or like does that become when you start doing all the updates and upgrades?
It's continuous. Yeah, it will be continually updated with features, and that never stops, I don't think.
Yeah. So it's not like spend all this money, create the app, spend all the time creating it, and then sit it there and it's like this passive income.
No, I don't think it's going to be that easy. Also, we want to get something out quick, so it's not going to be finished when it launches. We're going to have like the what we really want to be there, and then we're going to add features over the next probably 12 months, 2 years, until we get everything on there that we want. Because if we waited to have it doing everything we imagine this thing can do, it would never get done. So we need to do version 1, get everybody on there, get a load of feedback, which is what we really want as well. Get people trying it, trying to break it, using it, find out what they want to use it for, how they use it, and make it better for the users, because that's what it's all about. Effectively, what we're trying to do is solve a bunch of problems that we have in the UK, and see how people use it and what the response is.
And so it's an app that's for UK only?
It will be, yes. Whether we expand that in the future, I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I know what the app is, so I know that it could be transitioned to all the other countries, but you know, it would probably be harder and a lot more work moving it into another country that you don't know anything about. Yeah,
I can't think that big. It's hard enough to get something that covers the whole of the UK working. So but I can't wait. I've not been this excited about a new project. I needed this. I properly needed this. I've been kind of coasting for years, which is a good thing, you know, taking my foot off the pedal, because I've been in retail most of my life. When we had our own retail stores, I was doing 7-day weeks, you know, for ages, and it was a hard slog. So coming out of retail and doing what you see in my videos now has been great to take that breath. But I need to push myself. I need a challenge. I need this. This is my new thing, right? Yeah. Whether it works or not, I'm not scared of failure. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah, because I'm not either.
Yeah. No. But I'm loving it. It's one heck of a challenge. I know nothing about this. I'm having to learn everything as I go. Yeah. That's why I've got a load of tech people doing that side of it. But, you know, I'm still having to drive this thing. So, watch this space. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be so exciting. And, you know, I think when you do a new project like that, it brings out some passion and it ignites. When you can throw yourself into something, it's good for the soul, isn't it? And I know that you've been doing that. And my thing that I've been passionate about at the moment is learning like the whole behind the scenes of YouTube and the videoing, and you know, like that's kind of been something that I've been really passionate about lately. So I think it does, sometimes you need that, because eBay is a bit of a grind. At the end of the day, it's the same old we're doing the same old stuff every day. And if you've been full-time since 2001, did you say? Like, it's a long time.
eBay is very much like Groundhog Day. Apart from the sourcing, where we get that kind of adrenaline fix and it's fun, the rest of it, you just get into a weird kind of routine and it gets boring and you procrastinate and you wonder what you're doing with your life. And it's like, you know, you get in that. You do though, don't you, right? Yeah. It's like, what day is it again? I don't know. What day is it? They're all the same. It doesn't matter what day it is anymore. Yeah. So having a new project has really given me that drive again to push myself and be scared of not working, and get that kind of, that little bit of fear in you is not a bad thing.
I think that little bit of fear, but brings growth. And I know I need to check the chat, guys, but I think that little bit of fear does definitely bring growth. And I think that as people, we do need, even working for ourselves, we still need to be pushed so that we can grow. Because if we go and work for an employee, we kind of get pushed with tasks, or we get promoted into different roles which push us. And when we're working from home and we're doing the same tasks every day, sometimes we need something that's going to push us and inspire us to make us, you know, work harder and try new things. And whether or not it works or not, like, it's good for you to try something new.
Yeah. I just want to quickly read David's comment if I can. It says,
Yep.
Garage Sale Trail today used a great Google Maps system where you could click the sales you wanted to go to and Google Maps would direct you to each sale. This needs to be an app. Imagine that with all the knobs on. That's what we're making.
Yep.
With a lot more functionality as well around charity shops, boot sales. We're trying to create a toolbox for anybody who's into thrifting in any way.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully I can solve those things for you, David, and give you what you need.
David's Australian.
Oh, well, you'll have to wait till we do the Australia version in a couple of years, or Mel can do that one. There you
go. Yeah. Nic, are you excited about the soccer result?
Yeah, we were watching. And I was messaging Mel going, you might have to postpone this. We're in extra time now.
I'm like, I'm climbing back up to the top of this chat because I haven't even been in here. But hello, I won't go through everybody's name because I've kind of missed the boat on that. But hello to everybody who is in this chat, and thank you so much for coming to join us. There was a few people earlier who were like, woohoo, we can watch the footy for a bit longer. So that was good. You say footy, we say soccer. Like, I'm just seeing if there's any questions here. There's a lot of people saying hello. We've got a few Americans in here. This is Katie. Hi, Katie. And Craig. Katie's a book lover like me.
Hi, Katie.
So there's not many booksellers who like just do books mostly, but especially in America, because America they mainly do Amazon, but Katie's really big into the eBay as well. So it's nice to find a fellow reseller there.
I've been really enjoying books recently, actually.
Yeah. Oh.
Had a really good pickup, which was they were actually giving them all away. I don't know if you saw the video.
Yep.
But it was so many. I said to the lady, I can't just take all of your sci-fi books. It was like, I don't know, 100 or so books. So we paid her anyway because it just felt too much. But we sold one of the authors. We bundled together and sold them for £100 within the day.
Yeah. And
I've since sold. I think I've got like a handful of the books left. They've flown out. But that's all through bundling. I think I've listed one on its own and the rest were bundles by author or by genre. I did a Star Wars bundle, which actually went to a viewer, which was fantastic. The Star Trek bundle went yesterday and there's virtually nothing left. So books do work. For me, it's all about bundling up because I can't compete with We Buy Books and the other big guys who sell the individual ones for less than I can post it for, right? It's ridiculous. So that doesn't tend to work.
The UK market is very different on books, and I have a lot of people tell me that, and I always say bundling because the other stores that are those big medium mail or whatever you call it, they're not selling bundles. They're only selling the individual books. So you've got that real competitive advantage if you can bundle something up into a lot of authors or a series or a trilogy or whatever it is. You've got that. That's where you get your little bit of an advantage.
100%, because they're also, their business model is they scan it and it adds to their inventory. It's all based on the barcode numbers. So they don't have the staff or the infrastructure to lay them out, photograph a bundle, do a description for each bundle. They don't have the manpower and they're not set up for that.
Yeah. So
it gives you that instant advantage to give that buyer who wants the whole collection in one hit.
Yeah.
What they want. And
value just, it gives them the value getting it in a bundle, I find.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm all about the bundles, and like you said, the sci-fi are very sought after genre of books. So and you don't find them all the time. Like they're not as common as like fiction books or crime books or romance books. The sci-fi I find them harder to find, but as soon as I see them, I'm picking them up because they definitely sell. They're definitely a sought after genre.
Yeah.
Almost like a cult following, some of them.
The earlier ones, they sometimes are worth looking up individually. I mean, we're talking about bundling here, but early sci-fi, certain authors, just checks completed and sold on individuals. I mean, and then when you get into first editions, obviously you know this stuff, but it's worth looking it up because it will surprise you once in a while. Yeah, what something will go for. Yeah.
I've put this one up on Brick Pick Productions. My stuff is not selling and I have 500 items of Legos and toy stores. Any tips? Fans of you both, by the way. Thank you. Well, Nic is a bit of a Lego guru, so maybe he's got some tips for how you can sell your Lego.
It comes down to, is what you've got in demand? If it is and it's not selling, it's going to be your price. If it's not your price, as in if you're competitive with an in-demand item and it's still not selling, maybe your listing is missing something or your title is missing something. But it comes down to that. If Lego is in demand, so it shouldn't be hard to sell. So look at your competition. I would suggest it's probably based on price, your problem, but I don't know without looking. But I don't have trouble selling Lego, so I
think
researched the price.
Price is massive. I have been taking time off listing because I wanted to kind of downsize the store a bit before I moved. And I just can't believe how much I've been selling just because I've been running a 30% off sale. So what that kind of tells me is there's no magic number to how many I can list every single day. It really just comes down to having an item that people want and being priced at that right price. So like with your Lego, do you bundle that up? Do you put all the men in one little bundle and then all the bricks in one bundle? Like, is there a certain way that will bring more money?
There's so many ways of doing Lego. When I did nothing but Lego, we would part out by the part number, literally. And you can go to that extreme, but then you're into a different market of people who are looking for this part, that part, this part, and that part to make a set, and they buy a bunch of parts at the same time, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you have to have a store with thousands of parts in, otherwise the model doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when I was doing that, we had racks and racks and racks of part numbers. This room I'm in now was just racked out with shelves full of Lego. I wish I was doing YouTube then. It would have been amazing to see.
Yeah, it would have been good to see.
But then it just got too much and we stopped doing that because it drove me nuts. So these days I pull out the figures, I pull out baseboards, I pull out what I know to be valuable parts, and the rest is sold by the kilo. Yeah. Generally, that's how I do it.
Not color coordinated?
No.
No,
you can do, but it's not something I tend to do.
Yep.
There's so many ways of doing that is what I'm trying to say. And you have to find what works for you. It's the age-old thing.
Yep. Now, David's saying blinkers can prevent us from seeing the gold amongst the overpriced BOLOs. I was talking to somebody else about BOLOs the other day, and I kind of feel like BOLOs are this, I know there's this be on the lookout for these things and everyone's sharing these things that are so rare and hard to find. But to me, like a BOLO is more of a bread and butter item that I'm going to pick up every single time I go to a charity shop. I want to know what's that $30 book that I'm going to find in nearly every single store that I can, every single charity store that I can buy for $30. To me, that's a BOLO because I can pick it up continuously. Me searching for the odd item that I can sell for $100, $150, $200 that is going to be so rare and few in between me picking up. That's almost not a BOLO to me. So, I
think it's whatever you want it to be. There's no definition of it. It's just the way I see it. It's stuff to have on your radar, and that includes the £100 items and the £20 easy flips that maybe you weren't aware of. That's the point.
Yeah. That's what I think. So I've just started setting up a bookcase here, but when I get to the shed, trust me, my background's going to look like Nic, so I'm hoping, full of stuff. I actually really like watching a reseller who's got all their stuff behind them. And that's something that I've really been lacking since I have, probably in the whole time that I've done YouTube, I've never really had my work area sitting behind me. And it's one thing that I'm actually really looking forward to when I move into the new shed is actually working with my computer in my workspace where you can kind of see all the junk and what's happening around you, because it's not always. Like sometimes in my videos, my shed looks really like tidy and people are like, oh, you're so organized and tidy. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't see it yesterday then when there was so much stuff I was tripping all over the floor. So
my office is an embarrassment. I have to tidy up before I start filming sometimes. It's just like, oh my God. Or I fall over stuff because it's all over. And this ended up being like a rogues gallery. Look, this thing. Look at
Are they listed or are they is this your listed?
Some of that's listed. In fact, most of the listed stuff is sold now. I don't think any of it's listed. I'm looking at it now.
job. No, I do like seeing when other people are doing their streaming from inside their shed, not so much like this is in my lounge area. So I have to try and keep it a little bit neat. And I'm looking forward to having the messy tat behind me. Tat, as you guys would say it. Now, has anyone mentioned that it's coming home yet? What does that mean? Is that something about the football?
That's the football. Yeah, there's a song that always gets played when we're in a big tournament. Football's coming home.
Hi,
you went an LP and left with a single. I did, yeah. It wasn't quite that easy. I had to work hard to leave with my single.
Here you go. Live, love life. Live, love life. Went from toys to full-on clothes. Now I'm just doing jewelry. The ASP is lower, but the profit is more. Plus, I can contain it 3,600 items in one cupboard, and I've reclaimed my home back. So, yeah, I think that is... So you guys work from home, but you have like this designated shed, which is kind of what I'm in the process of doing here at home. And I know when I said to you before I jumped into doing this shed here, I'd actually talked to you about it and said, you know, I've got the opportunity that we can make this a shed here, and I don't know what I should do. Like, I've been in this mode of I'm going to grow my bookstore and grow. And then it was like, but if I come back home, I can't go that business model anymore. You know, I have to sit here and take a step back and say, well, I can only grow as far as the shed can hold. Otherwise, it defeats the whole purpose. And I remember talking to you about it, and you kind of said to me, I would advise anybody who can work from home and save that money to do it. Yeah.
Well, that money that you save is money that you'll make. Don't look at it as saving money. That whatever you were paying for the units, you're making that every month now, if you can hit the same targets, right, of turnover. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I understand what you're saying. You're now kind of limiting yourself space-wise, but with a few tweaks, and you know, maybe once a book is listed for a month, you put it on sale automatically, or maybe you're much more harsh with your turnover speed or whatever. You just tweak it a bit so you don't grow your inventory all the time. Because you can't, right? You're fixed for that space.
Yes.
Although I'm not the one to talk about that, because you've seen the amount of crap that I gather, right? But it is still limited, and people have said to me, "Why don't you get off-site storage again?" And it's because, well, I will then fill it.
Yes.
You see what I mean? So you are limited by yourself, and you make it work with the space you've got, and at the same time, you'll be saving. How much were you outlaying for those units? It was a lot of money, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're costing me $15,000 a year.
Exactly. So I know the shed is an expensive outlay now.
Yeah.
But once that's done, it's done and it's yours.
Yeah. So the shed should probably cost me about $5,000, which is, you know, like equivalent of, you know, 4 months of the shed or 3 months of the shed or whatever. And then that's it.
That's nothing really when you think about it, time-wise. It'll earn that back in a few months.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's those kind of pros. I think for me, it's been that mental block of, but I had all these goals and I had this vision that I was going to grow this store and I was going to be this huge bookstore, and I was going to get people to come in and help work for me, and I was going to really try and scale up. And now it's kind of got to that point where after we moved house, and I was like, I am exhausted. And I know that I am that type of person that has roller coaster moments with my mental health and my burnout and my emotional state. So I know that I moved house and everything kind of happened at once, and I hit like a low point, but I know that will happen again, because I know that I kind of live in these circles that go really, really high and full energy and full hustle and let's go. And then I go boom. And then I have to pull back up again. And I know it's a vicious circle for me. So I'm kind of thinking in my head, here I am when I was in that hustle mode. I wanted to go and grow my store to this scaled up version of what it was. And then when I crash, I go, actually, that's probably not good for me, because when I crash again and it's scaled even bigger, it's going to be even harder. So I think by coming back to the shed here, it's going to force me to have that little bit more of a balance again. And I won't be able to have that option. Like at the moment, I can just say, oh, I've run out of room. I need to go hire another storage unit. There's a free one in my aisle. I'll just get another one. Whereas when I'm here, it's like, well, this is all I've got to work with. So yeah, like you said, I've got to cull more or get crafty with sales.
There's no rules to this. There's nothing to say that this is what's needed now, and you'll do this for a year or two, and then maybe you'll have learned something a bit more about your business, and then you'll expand. Maybe this is just kind of a regrouping, doing what's right for you and your family now. There's nothing to say you can't expand this in a couple of years. You know what I mean? But this is right for now, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, it's such a good way to think of it, because I think it's something that mentally I struggle with so much. Like, I feel like I don't feel like I failed, but I feel like I let myself down, because like I set myself these goals and then I change it. So then they don't happen in that way. So then I feel bad, not to everybody else. I don't care about failing or anything in front of anyone else. I just feel like, am I letting myself down because I didn't get to that where I wanted to go?
I think you naturally set the bar high for yourself, which isn't a bad thing, but yeah, I think you beat yourself up way too much. You've achieved so much. When you actually look back at what you've done, it's huge. And now you're kind of resetting a bit and consolidating
and I think because YouTube, like last year, I didn't spend as much time on YouTube. I was doing more of these live streams, kind of come in for an hour, do my chat, and that's it. I didn't have to think too much about it. But when you make those pre-recorded videos that I'm doing with lots of cuts and lots of editing and lots of music, and I'm trying to make them into like a bit like a storytelling for those 8 minutes or whatever. I'm trying to spend a lot of time on that. So when that starts taking up so much time, then also that gives me less time for eBay. So then it's finding that balance. And when I dig deep, I think I love the YouTube and I love making all that content, and I don't want to ease back on that. I want to actually learn more about that. So then I have to, in my mind, I have to go, well, if you want to do that, you have to learn to scale back the eBay to a level that allows you to do both of them quite comfortably. And, don't be too hard on yourself if the eBay isn't at the same level that it was, or if you drop your sales down a little bit. But even if I drop my sales down a little bit, I'm still saving so much money on storage, it probably works out exactly the same.
Exactly. Yeah. And everything is a constant trying to find that balance. And I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it till the day I die. I can't find those balances. I'm terrible. I'm either doing too much or not enough. I'm either doing, it's like, I'm all in or all out. And I'm working crazy hard on doing nothing. It's like,
I actually think you've got one of the best store, like out of all the resellers that I kind of follow, I always think that I admire your store model the most. And I think it's because you do have that, for me, Nic, you've never been that one you're not about the numbers and I make this much money and I've got to make this much more and I'm pushing. You're more for the minimalistic, balanced lifestyle, that you do this as your lifestyle to have this type of life. And I think a lot of resellers get caught up in the game and the competition between everyone else. And you never do that, you and Andrea.
To qualify that, though, I've been where you are, super competitive, wanting to bigger, faster, more. And I did that for a long time when we had the retail units and worked way too hard, had the burnout, did the whole thing. So you've got to put what we do now in context, that we've achieved our financial goals, or a lot of them, and we set up, and we now do this because we want to work as hard as we need to. That's maybe the difference you're seeing. But I still struggle because I enjoy what I do. So I work more than I need to sometimes. And then I think, well, I don't have to. I'll take a day off. Oh, I might as well take another day off. And then I beat myself up because I have when I don't need to. It's like, you're fine, Nic, you can do that. But yeah,
I think that's a constant battle with somebody and you've said it before in live streams, that you feel like you are a bit of a workaholic. And you work crazy late hours at night and stuff like that. But it's still, and your situation, financially you've set yourself up and paid your mortgages off, and you've kind of got yourself into that position, which is awesome. Whereas I still feel like sometimes I'm in that grind of,
exactly.
I want
a very
that.
different point to where we are, and a lot of people are. And I do worry that sometimes people don't understand the context of of where our business is at. You know, we paid our dues and had retail outlets for like 10 years and worked crazy hard to get where we are. And I don't want to, you know, keep repeating that, but there is a lot of context that goes into how our business works and why it works this way. You know?
I think it's a good goal. Like, I look at you guys now and I kind of think that's where I want to be, and I want to be at that point sooner than I probably am. But because, you know, I'm still hustling and got to pay off a mortgage, but I want that more, where I'm like more, you never seem stressed. And I know you do get stressed. I've seen you stressed when you've had, you know, problems, you know, and dramas and different stuff. I know you get stressed. But in that everyday kind of like, oh, I've got to do this amount of listings, like, you don't seem to get that kind of stress, which is still the stress.
No.
Like, I'm not listing enough, or I'm not doing this enough, or I need to take more photos, and I start rushing. And I feel like you've got that calm about you that doesn't happen. To
an extent. And it's why both, I don't want to speak for Andrea, but it's why both of us took the decision to leave our jobs, and people thought we were mad. For those that don't know, Andrea worked for Amazon. I worked in the police force. We were set up for life.
Yeah.
And we walked out on our jobs the moment we had a baby. Crazy idea, right? But it was because that stressful rat race life didn't suit us.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that's why we do this. I still have to remind myself I don't need to get stressed, because I made those decisions and for a reason.
Yeah. And I think as you grow older, like, you know, like now that I'm getting, you know, I'm 45 this week or next week or something. This week, it's coming up anyway. I'm about to turn 45, but I'm getting to that point in my life where I'm like, you know, 50's not far away. And like, I don't want to be putting this amount of stress on my body at this age. Like, I'm not young anymore at the end of the day. Like 40, I mean, somebody might say 45 is still young enough. It is, but you know, there's still a lot of health implications that start coming at this age if you start putting stress on your body. And that's one thing that I'm starting to really think a little bit more about. Like, you know, you need to start planning for this future, and you don't want this really stressful. I don't want that real stressful life of having this business that's so scaled up that then it becomes so stressful because I can't do it on my own. You know, I need all these people to help me. And I'm kind of at that point where I think, no, I actually don't want that. I want to scale back down so that it's just kind of me, because I like working just me.
Yeah. And it's also, I think about getting things in place, like building the YouTube channel to a level where it actually does provide a bit of income.
Yeah.
You know, maybe having a couple of other revenue streams that you set up now that may come into fruition in the future.
Yeah.
I've certainly been thinking like that for the last few years, and hopefully those things will pay off. YouTube has become part of our business, which is awesome. I love that fact. It's been great for us, and that wouldn't have happened without putting the legwork in for 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's about, for me, it's certainly been about thinking forward. Although the YouTube thing was never a business idea, and at the start, it's weird how that evolved.
Yes.
But because I'm an opportunist, once I realised what it could become, of course, I went for that. Why wouldn't you? And I know you think the same way I do, and it's why wouldn't you make the most of it once you've got it, right?
I think when I set up YouTube, I just was on here to chit chat to the community, and you know, I was hanging out in Money Mentals like Saturday, Friday night streams, and just, you know, just having fun and hanging out with a lot of people. And then you know, probably this year I started to see a bit of a climb in my channel, and I went, yeah, maybe I can do this, but you know, maybe I can find a way to be relatable and people to follow me and make a bit of money off it as well. And I know other resellers who are making big money from their reselling, from their YouTubes, and I'd like to try and do that myself. You know, I'm not one to deny it. You know, if I'm going to put this amount of effort into if I'm going to spend 6 hours editing a video or 7 hours, which I know.
I can't believe some of the time you put into your edits. You tell me, and I'm like, what?
Because Nic can just put it on. It's raw. I don't know if it's a male thing. You'd have to do your hair and your makeup and stress about your angles. And
I spend ages doing this.
You know, but I know yours is very quick in the shed, whereas mine is a lot of chopping and changing. And I can spend so many hours doing these videos, and I think, you know, if I'm gonna try and make this into a business, then I want to put the effort in and try and make my videos entertaining and give some value in them as well. So I don't know. I think I'll give like YouTube. I want to know that I've given YouTube like a good try for like a year or two to know whether or not I think, okay, this is something that I can actually make an income from, because at the moment it only, you know, just pays for little bits. But it would be nice to give it that shot.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with having that level of ambition about it as well. It's been a weird thing for me that when our channel started to take off, there was a lot of pushback from the community that we were starting to make money out of YouTube. Like it was a bad thing. It was really odd. It's like, hello, I'm a businessman. I'm trying to earn money. Of course, I'm going to, you know, enjoy the fact that I can actually make money out of the effort I put into YouTube.
Yeah,
because it's really odd that people don't like that for some reason, or some people, not everybody, obviously, but it's really odd that there's that kind of resistance within our community to it from certain quarters. But
all the people that I know who are actually making decent incomes from it, I know the amount of time and effort they put into those channels, and that's fully they're worthy of that income, because, you know, it is a job at the end of the day, making all those, you know, everybody says you have to do it because you love it. And I think you do have to do it because you love it and you enjoy it, because it can take a long time to make that money. Yeah. But it is still something that people are doing for a business to add income to their business. And if you're one of these lucky ones that can make like a full-time income off YouTube, or make more off YouTube than you can off your actual eBay store, then I think that's amazing. Like I think it's awesome if you've got the opportunity.
Well, David's actually asked a question there, an interesting question. Does getting YouTube income, you mean you scale back the eBay income, the reason why people were watching your channels in the first place? For me, it's not really meant that. It's just it's kind of given us another string to the bow, or whatever you like. You know what I mean? It's allowed me to not feel guilty about giving a lot of time to YouTube. That's what it's done, because it gives us a certain amount of income now. I think, you know, editing that video, taking time out to film or whatever. Not that I take as much time as Andrea's just commented, actually, that she takes forever to make her videos and I moan at her. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's an interesting one. We're way off it replacing our eBay income still.
Yeah. And I don't think I'll ever be able to replace my income yet. But you know,
it's very hit and miss and very unreliable, the YouTube thing. If we have a video that goes crazy, it's great for like a few weeks, and then that video's kind of done its thing, and then you're back to, I've got to make another one now, and then another one.
But I do think that if your YouTube is getting to that point where it's like equaling, you do have to kind of drop your eBay activity a little bit to put that time into those videos as well. I know that if I wasn't spending this 30 hours a week on YouTube, that I would be able to add that 30 hours to my eBay, and I'd probably be able to make more eBay income. But then I would just feel like I was grinding more and I would be bored. This is my creative outlet.
I still couldn't ever imagine giving YouTube 30 hours a week. We're so far apart in how much time we give to it.
I'd like to see you actually time yours, because you make a lot of content. I think you still do put a lot, but I'm also putting a lot of time into learning YouTube at the moment, not just making the videos. So when I say 30 hours, it's not just 30 hours making those videos. It's 30 hours of me actually doing study work and stuff like that as well, because I'm studying the back end and the analytics and how to write a better title, and, you know, trying different thumbnails and different things like that. So that can be where I can put in those extra times. But Andrew, I think it's a male thing, because I'll be sitting there sometimes saying to Nic, I've been 5 hours on this video and I'm only like 10 minutes into the editing. And he's like, what? I've already done a whole video in 15 minutes by filming it, editing it, and it's already uploaded. And I'm like, not fair. Not fair. I'm so behind on this chat. I'm sorry if you've left a message. Please put it back in the chat again if I've missed it, because there's so many here I can't even see them. This one was where I was up to. Resellers need to be chameleons. I've said that wrong, haven't I? Constantly chameleons. That's it. I knew what I was talking about. are constantly adapting to new markets. Yeah. And I do think that I think that's really important, to be willing to adapt and at least willing to try something, because you don't always have to try something and like it. Like, I was doing clothes and got to the point where I hated selling dresses. Like, I hated photographing them, hated listing them, everything about it drove me up the wall. And I got to the point where I actually said to myself, you don't have to sell dresses. This is your business. You don't have to buy those dresses just because you know you can make money off them. You don't actually have to buy them, because if you are just hating everything that you're doing, then you may as well go and work for the man, mine and you.
Exactly what I was going to say. If you build into your business doing repetitive tasks that you really don't enjoy, go and get a job. It's a heck of a lot easier. You'll get holiday pay, you'll get sick pay, you'll get all those benefits.
Yeah.
Don't make your own business a grind if you can possibly avoid it, which is why ours is chopped and changed. And I've found my groove, which is enjoying going out and seeing what I can find. I never know what I'm going to pick up when I go out.
Yeah.
It's going to involve some media along the way, and probably some soft toys, but generally I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of it. I still enjoy the ka-ching every day. I still enjoy packaging. I hate selling clothes, so I don't sell clothes. Andrea's moved away from clothes, which she was very passionate about for a while, and it's now all about the hard goods and the vintage, mid-century homewares. Yeah, it's about creating the job that you want, really, if you can. And otherwise, like you say, go and work for McDonald's or whatever, because you might as well.
Yeah. And there's nothing to say, like, Andrea had the passion for clothes once before, and maybe one day she'll be out sourcing and find something that sparks her up again, and then she might end up loving doing a few bits of clothes again. I sometimes think the same to myself. Like, I used to love selling clothes. Could I still like selling clothes if I went out there? And at the moment, I've got no interest. I've still got bags of clothes up there that I can sell. But
I thought, did you not sell them in bulk? Did that not work out, or what happened?
I sold a lot of it in bulk, but I kept some as well. Okay. I kept some of the better stuff, as the just in case. if I get to be storing that for still like another 12 months in the new shed, then I'll know that it's time that I just let it go. But I don't know. I think I just always had it there as my security blanket. I never knew if the books were like this big rush on them with COVID, and then if they died, then I'd have to be going out there and sourcing. And since the sourcing now on the clothes, I've noticed quite a huge price jump when I go into the charity shops on how much the clothes are actually costing now. And I've got all these clothes that I've bought for very, very cheap and already outlaid that money. And it kind of just feels like I've got them sitting there as an emergency security blanket.
Well, like you say, the money's spent, so it's not costing you anything to have them sat there.
Space. Just space. So once I get in here, it might be a little bit different. But, I've also got an under the house area here. Like, you've got your basement. We've got an area under the house. So I can actually store some of those clothes or whatever in tubs here and not have to worry about them taking up my space there, but know that they're here if I need them. So that'll be good. Where are we? I'm trying to see. As long as you're making money on sales and not just becoming an extension of an op shop, i.e. storing the items, that's great. So many people are claiming they're crushing it with sales when the profit is only few. The sales thing is a hard thing, isn't it? Because, in the reseller community, and this is one thing I love about Nic, never shows like sales numbers. It's not important. Like, what he makes is totally different because you all need a different amount to live, and the sales.
I think it's irrelevant. I genuinely think it's irrelevant. It's a weird one. People are really fascinated, and I get asked every day, how much money do you make? But it's like, I'm not sure how that's going to help you. My situation is very unique. Yeah. I'm happy to share what I'm buying and what I'm selling and how much profit I make on an individual item. So I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
What I bring home every month is of no relevance to anyone but me. And it's also no business of anyone's but mine. You know what I mean?
I think the resellings is creating this culture, which then puts the expectations on ourselves that we're not doing as well. If we're constantly looking at all these people with massive numbers, and we're constantly putting on that pressure. Well, am I not doing well because I'm not making that much money? But everybody's situation is so different. Even what they're buying, the stock that they're selling. Do they sell high high items or low items. Like it's all very different. And
yeah.
And, you know, I don't go onto Facebook and see that my local coffee shop has put a post up there saying, oh, I did 100,000 in coffee sales this month. And then the next coffee shop's got on there, oh, I did 80,000 of coffee sales. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you're making sales and your business is running and making enough profit for your individual needs, it's
a number on a post is irrelevant anyway, because you don't know the overheads, you don't know the return on investment, you don't know the margins. It's almost a pointless number, turnover, if it's just a turnover number. So I just focus on what I'm doing. As long as I'm comfortable and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, I honestly couldn't care what anyone else is doing. It's of no relevance to me. And it does surprise me sometimes how fascinated people are with how much money I make.
But we don't normally go and ask our normal friends how much money they make.
No, I know.
Like our friends in real life, if we go and meet up and have a barbecue, we don't sit there and say, how much money do you make this month? Like it's not something that we commonly ask other people. Like, in fact, years ago, it was quite taboo and rude to ask somebody how much money they made. But now it's become like a big sharing is caring. And it's, you know, it's very different.
I've just noticed a question, which is one that has been coming up a fair bit recently. Steve spends a penny. Nic, do you think your eBay sales do much better because your YouTube is doing so well? The simple answer is yes. I think we get quite a fast turnover of stuff because people go onto our viewers go and pick stuff off. I think that stuff generally is priced to sell and it would sell anyway. But we are certainly finding that we get a lot of support from viewers, and that side of our business has been an amazing surprise that we never saw coming. So the simple answer is yes, and no point denying it.
Tell them how many, this blows my mind. Tell them how many people follow your eBay store. Like, click the little follow button and
give me a minute and I'll find the number. It was 10,000 and something.
It blows me away. Like I would be nervous if I had that many people following my eBay store. And I don't. You always tell me.
Well, it passed 10,000 recently. It's now 10,228. And the weird thing about that is, for a long time, we didn't share our eBay store because that wasn't what the channel was about, and it still isn't really. And then we stumbled across that number once, and it was like at 5,000 or something at that time. We're like, what's the point in not sharing our eBay, because people are finding it anyway? And then we were very open about what it is. We link it from every video now, and people like to support what we do by choosing to buy from us. I'm not going to turn that down, and it's been a wonderful bonus from doing YouTube. Do
you like sign like a little card, or is that what they're coming? Are they coming to buy?
I put a little thank you in. If somebody sends a little message with the order and says, thanks so much, Nic, I follow the channel, or whatever it is, I try and, if I'm making a picking orders video that day, I'll try and read those messages out, and then I'll just put a thank you note in with it. It's just a courtesy thing. That's nothing beyond that. You know, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah. I think it's I think it frightens me in one way. In other ways, I think it's amazing, and in other ways, I think it frightens me knowing that there's that many people who are constantly looking and viewing over your store. But I wonder sometimes if all those people viewing your store, you know, I've heard that it can hinder your store with the algorithm if people are looking at it and they're not buying, but then yours is selling, like you have a high turnover and you only have a low amount of items in your store. So,
I can only speak from my experience, but sharing our store has been a wonderful thing for us.
And I still haven't linked my store, but it's easy to find because obviously I'm showing all my hauls and what I buy. So if people really want to go looking for it, they can find it now. So I kind of got used to that idea. At first I was very kind of secrety and had all these multiple stores to try and keep it all hidden. And now I'm like, I can't be bothered. But I think I've only got like 400 people following my store, not 10,000.
Gay says there, a really interesting comment. You really have to stay in your own lane. And I totally believe that. It's not an easy thing to actually do. You know, we're in this social media age, and everybody's shouting about what they're doing. And like you were saying about sharing numbers before, it's like, look how great I am, look what I've done. And it sometimes does get really hard to just focus on what you're doing and doing it to the best of your ability. But yeah, I totally agree, Gay. You know, well, as she says, it's so hard not to compare yourself to others.
Yeah, it's hard. And I don't know, do you think that's partly because we work on our own and there's nobody else, like if you're working in an office and you've got Joe Blow sitting over here, you've kind of got that office rivalry with the person who's sitting in your store. But when you've got nobody working with you, the only people you've got to rival are the other people who have got those stores. And it almost becomes like I want to beat them, or, you know, like if they can sell that, I want to sell that. And yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know what it is.
I don't know if it's unique to the kind of little reseller world we find ourselves in, but there is an awful lot of, you know, how many listings I've got, how many items I've sold today. There's a lot of that goes on. So I kind of tune out of it most of the time, unless I'm in a listing challenge, and then it's all about that.
Yes. Now, this person, Nakoma Fines, has said asking for income is a very American thing.
Oh, right, maybe
that's where it's come from. You know, like I definitely know, like in Australia, you know, where Australians are very open and we're open to talking about that. Like if I had a friend that came to me and really wanted to sit down and talk about money, then I know I would be able to do that. And I have another friend of mine who is a reseller who I was actually been friends with for 20 years, Sam from Secondhand Sales. And she's always known the nitty gritty about my finances and stuff, because we've had that friendship where we can talk about things. But in a dinner party situation, you just wouldn't kind of ask those questions. But yeah, maybe it is it's an American thing for doing tips, and it's an American thing for, I don't know, we're all so different, aren't we? Here you go, Wendy. I probably live on at least half as much as most people. It makes reselling a lot easier for me, because you're living on less, you're living within your means. And I think this is an issue, isn't it? Like where people are living without their means and then they're needing this more money. I think this is where Nic comes. I really admire Nic, because Nic and Andrea live this minimalistic kind of, minimalistic in the way of without this.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it's so true that the easiest way to earn more money is to spend more money. Really, that's the easiest shortcut to having more in your bank is to spend less. Honestly, and we've kind of lived by that. You know, even when we were doing incredibly well, when we had the retail outlets, we would save all that money, all of the excess we put into the house. You know, we were thinking ahead all the time. It wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do. Rather than buy a new car, go on a fancy holiday, let's pay off another chunk of the mortgage. And we acted like that, you know, for 10 years straight, knowing that it would pay off in our later years. It sounds incredibly dull, but, you know, we really had a plan and we stuck to it. So, yeah, I totally back that up. And it's all about your outgoings. And also that's when comparing your income, it's kind of a daft thing, because it's all about what your outgoing is. Someone who's earning £1 million a month, if their outgoings are £1 million a month, they're not doing very well, are they?
No.
You know what I mean? The income is only relevant if they're telling you what their outgoings are.
Yes, I've said that to a friend of mine before. Like I've said, in my sheds, because I've picked up most of my books for like free or for 50 cents each, you know, most things that I buy for is $1. If that shed of mine burnt down tomorrow, I would be able to replace that shed within a couple of weeks for only like a few $1,000s to replace the amount of books. Whereas there's other people who will have a shed full of like hundreds of $1,000s worth of things. And if their shed burnt down, their whole business would be like distraught. Whereas I feel like if my shed burnt down, I could pick it up and find enough books that in 2 weeks later I'd have like the same business. It's very different. YouTube content has switched over the last 2 years from business mechanics to business entertainment related to eBay. So you've been on YouTube for 7 years. Have you noticed a switch in that kind of things?
I think so, yeah. I'm just thinking about the entertainment I watched. The entertainment, well, I called it entertainment then. I don't watch much reselling content now. In the early days of the community, as we call it here in the UK, there were like a handful of us, and I would watch every reselling video that came out. and it was exciting, right? There's only a few of us doing it, la da da. Now there's hundreds of channels, and the ones I follow, it's because I have an affinity with that person, so I find them entertaining. So yeah, for me, it's certainly about, I kind of don't need to be told how to sell on eBay.
No.
Not that I'm saying I know everything, but I kind of know what I'm doing enough that I'm not looking for that. So certainly what I'm looking for is a bit of something extra, a bit of personality, humor. You know, I love watching the likes of Lex, Carla, you know, people that are genuine friends now. And like yourself, we've made a connection. So I find it easier to watch you because I can then message you and say, you know, that was interesting or whatever. You know, we can talk about the videos and we have that connection beyond, should I list, buy it now, or auction? I kind of did that, you know, 5 years ago.
Yeah. And I think there's had to become like a little bit of entertainment into the videos, because there's so many more resellers now on YouTube, and reselling is very much the same. When you think about videos, how much you can share, it's what's sold, what's your haul, like picking an order, shipping an order, like it's all, there's only so many things you can do in a reselling genre on eBay. Go to the garage sale, go to the car boot sale, like it's pretty much, you have these same videos on rotation, and you're constantly trying to think of ways to make them different or make them stand out from other people. And I think even for the Australians, like it's very, and I know with you as well over in UK, you don't have much of a US market. It's hard for the UK to get into the US market. I think it's hard for the Australians to get into both markets as well. And the Australian market itself is so small in reselling that you can't build a big channel just going off the Australian market. You know, you have to be able to branch out into the US and the UK markets. Well, I do. And for me to do that, I have to stand out and make the Americans feel like they can relate to me when we live. And you guys make sure that you can relate to me in a way, because we live quite different lives. And you have to find that way to make yourself be a little bit entertaining, so that people follow you because they're following you for you, the person, not because they actually care less about what you're selling. They actually just want to follow you for your personality and how you go about your day. And so it's quite a tricky balance trying to find and be that. Like, I don't find that I'm a funny person in general, and here I am in videos trying to make myself funny. It's hard.
Don't try and analyze it. It's weird. But yeah, totally. I feel the same. I don't know why people come back. I guess I something about what I do is watchable, hopefully, right? Yep. That's all we can hope for, really. Yep. But I think you nailed it just then. The fact that within reselling, there's only kind of 3 or 4 really videos. There's ways of doing things like the actual physical, this is how you do this, and then there's this is what I've bought, this is what I've sold, this is me buying stuff. There's kind of really there's like 4 video types really, and most of us do repeat that. So unless you've got something that people want to come back for beyond that, it's tricky. So I have no idea what it is I have, if anything, that keeps people coming back, but it's working, so I'm not changing it.
I think for you, you're just such a humble, you're such a relatable person that everybody who comes to your channel can relate to you and Andrea, because you're just kind people that are open to sharing, and it's that relatability, I think, that it comes back to. Can somebody relate to how you're doing the business? YouTube adds a ton of value into my physical store. The value is in the promotion on the things that you're doing more than how much you make on YouTube. The value is in promotion on the things that you're doing.
Yeah, so it's promoting his physical store. And that goes back to the question about, is my presence on YouTube benefiting my eBay? Yes, it's a simple yes. Because it's another avenue for exactly what Pop Fun to Play has said. It's promotion, it's marketing.
And he's got quite a big channel as well. I think Pop Fun to Play has got about 50,000 subs, mainly selling the pops as well, especially like YouTube is mainly the pops. And I think in this day and age you would be crazy not to leverage that audience. You're not saying anyone has to go and shop in your store, but if you don't put the option there, well, why would you not put the option? I know you don't, I'm not directing this at you, but in this day and age, I think the social media
is a marketing tool, whether you like it or not. That's a big part of what it is. And if you're in business, I think you should leverage that 100%.
I think for me as well, because I'm still only shipping within Australia, and 80% of my audience now is US and UK. So I'm still not even shipping internationally. So until I start shipping internationally, it's probably not worth me linking my store at this point, I don't feel like. But
yeah,
if I start adding the international sales in, then it's possibly worth me linking the store. But again, like, I'm still only selling books. I'm not really selling anything that's rare or unique or funky or vintage or collectible or anything. I'm really just that bread and butter run-of-the-mill store that I feel like nobody really wants anything special that I've got. Leanne says, I watched a TV program with Kathy Burke investigating people earning money, and I couldn't believe how much some of the youngsters make, literally millions, by sitting in a bath of milk on TikTok. Yep.
It's astonishing.
Yeah.
The potential of social media for anybody. I mean, I know the youngsters do particularly well, but yeah, for anybody.
There's still a market for us oldies.
There's just us oldies. Yes, exactly. It's funny because whenever I'm out with friends now, I talk about YouTube and I try and get people on YouTube, and a lot of people just stare at me blankly thinking, what are you talking about, you crazy fool? I'm like, it's fun, it's life-changing, and if you do it right, it can potentially earn you money. It's like, what's not to love? A friend of mine now makes videos about e-skateboards, electronic skateboards and electronic vehicles and stuff, and he's loving it. He's loving life, making videos about what he's passionate about. And I'm like, there you go. That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I think it's funny, even with me making the shed videos, I think Aaron's got more of an appreciation now for YouTube, because I think when I first started YouTube, he didn't really like it. He was a bit like,
I saw him dancing away in the shed.
It was always like, what is she doing talking to all these people? Like I know he thought it was a bit strange, you know, and it's funny now because he'll be at work on their, like, they'll be having their smoko break, their lunch break, and he'll hear one of the guys watching my shed video, and they start teasing him a little bit, but then they're kind of like, what does your wife even do? Like, what is her, why does she make these videos? And Aaron's trying to explain it, and he's not great at it. He's like, oh, she sells on YouTube and puts it out there. And I guess it's that, maybe that older generation, they're kind of like, what is your wife doing at this age? Like, is she having some kind of midlife crisis trying to be some influencer? It is a little bit of a strange concept, but I think the more Aaron's done the shed videos, the more comfortable he's getting, and I think he can see the enjoyment in that as well. Yeah.
And we all have to get over that. What is it? That kind of barrier of embarrassment, isn't it? With YouTube, I think. And then you get to a point where you just let it go, and you're just like, well, here I am.
Yes. Yeah. He's the same. He said to me, he'll send me a message. You go, they're all teasing me at work today about the video. And I said, well, you knew I was putting it up there, and you know that I've told you over the years, you've got to have thick skin to do YouTube, because, you know, you do cop a lot of, there's going to be a lot of people who sit behind the keyboard and they're very critical, and they pick everything about you. Oh, I don't like your voice, and you're annoying, and you do this. And I'm like, well, don't watch. But, you know, I think you do have to let go some of that guard. And if you're going to do it, you have to kind of show the good, the bad, the ugly, don't you?
Yeah.
Dropping kettles. Yeah. I'm so behind on this chat. There you go. I don't care for the thrifting videos, only the yard estate boot sales, because I think Goodwill watches and then they raise their price because of it. I may be wrong. It's hard to know, isn't it? Like, I mean, obviously I think Goodwill, the charity shops, I do think they're becoming a bit more savvy, and they are aware that there's more resellers out there and there's more money to be made on some of this stuff. And we do see it in some of the charity stores. They have things marked up to ridiculous amounts. But at the end of the day, I guess they're a business as well.
And it's a very easy connection to make. Oh, people are putting a video out about how much this is worth on eBay. Therefore, that's why the charity shop is aware of eBay prices. Yeah. They've been aware of eBay longer than you think. A lot of them have their own eBay shops. Yeah. This was all happening anyway. I dare say that, you know, it's accelerated it or it's helped it. But honestly, YouTube is not the reason why charity shops have discovered eBay, right? this was happening.
Yeah, and it's because there's so many hundreds of resellers out there now. It's such a community thing that it's always going to be out there. You know, you're never going to be able to hide the fact to Goodwill or whatever that we sell and we do this as a job. Like they're always going to know that, and there's going to be more and more content that comes from it. But whether or not it hinders, I don't know. I think that's where you've got to learn to adapt, isn't it? If something that you're buying is starting to be priced so that you can't make money, you have to learn to adapt as a reseller and find something else that you can sell that's going to make you the money.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Philly Flipper, thank you so much for the super chat, $5. Don't be afraid to be yourself. That's why we love you. Thank you, thank you. I'm going on to Philly Flipper's channel in about August.
Okay.
So we've been trying to juggle a time because he normally goes live on his channel in America, which is about my 3 a.m. or something ridiculous when I'm asleep. So we've been trying to juggle a time that we can get to work for his channel and for me.
I don't know Philly Flipper. You'll have to send me a link or something.
I'll link you. He's a great guy. It's funny how people dislike you, but they still watch. It's beyond me why anyone would do that. It's like a train. It's like a train crash. You can't look away.
I'm still waiting for my prize knob award. It hasn't arrived yet, but apparently I'm a prize knob.
Well, Nic definitely, obviously with the, the bigger your channel grows, you've got to expect it a little bit more. But yeah, I think there's always going to be those people that still watch. Just one piece of advice. What would you both give to a new reseller? You want to go first?
Yeah. Start with something you're passionate about if you possibly can. For me, that was video games. That's what got me into eBay as a collector. And yeah, because you've got an advantage then. If you're selling something, you've got that head start on because maybe you know about a niche. Mm-hmm. You're passionate about it. You're going to enjoy dealing with it. You're going to know what to look for. You're going to know how to describe it. So you've got a head start. So start there. It'll be easier. It'll be fun. And then start expanding into other areas. It's always a good bit of advice, I think. That certainly worked for me. Yeah.
My bit of advice would be to go slow in the beginning. I think people come out like a bull out of the gate sometimes. They're seeing everybody on social media selling like loads and loads and this and that. And I think people sometimes they rush into it and they're not spending their time learning how to create like a really good title and, taking those clear photos and all those kind of stuff that, you need to be able to sell. You need to have a clear photo. You need to have a title that is written for an SEO purpose, so that when somebody's searching you, they can find it. And I think sometimes we come in and we just buy all this stuff and we're spending too much money on stock that isn't really great to be selling. And then we're spending all this time, we're putting these listings up and then they come and go, why aren't I selling anything? And I feel like sometimes it's because you've rushed. It's like, take your time, research these items, go slow. Like it is a journey doing the reselling. You learn as you go.
Well, Stool put what is my usual answer. I was mixing up a bit, Stool. Stool said, I know what Nic will say. Just start by going through your own items in your own home that you no longer want. Yeah, that's my normal answer. I thought I was mixing it up. I was surprised. But yeah, that is my normal kind of response to that. Because don't rush out, like Mel was saying, and go, I've got to spend loads on stock.
Yeah.
You need to kind of learn how eBay works, make all the newbie mistakes by selling off your old DVDs you don't want and some of your old clothes and your trainers you never wear, whatever it is. Have a big purge, which is good for us all anyway. You'll make a load of money for stuff that you already had. You'll learn what you enjoy selling. You'll learn the ropes with eBay. You'll learn about the packaging, learn about the postage, make all the newbie mistakes, and then go out and spend some money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's normally my answer. Stephen's correct.
Because I do well when you've got an echo. When you first start. Oh,
have we? Is that me?
Is that you? Or me?
I can't hear it.
Okay. I think when you first start out as well and you're putting this money into the business when you're just starting, and quite often you end up spending more on items than you actually should be, you then have an attachment to these issues. When people start out, I find they have an attachment to an issue, something they've bought. So they've bought these pairs of shoes and they've paid £8 or $8 or whatever. So then they've got this attachment to those shoes that they have to sell them to make, this, they can't sell them for less because they've paid out £8 or whatever for this item. And I think that's where people get damaged as well, because you can't have an attachment to an item. At the end of the day, what you paid for it doesn't really matter, because it's only worth what somebody's prepared to pay for it, to buy it. Yep. So you have to let go of this, but I paid $10 for this item, so I have to be able to sell it for $25, or I'm not going to make my minimum $5 profit, or you have to let go of that attachment. And at the end of the day, your numbers will be money in minus the money out equals your expenses. Yeah. So some items you're going to win on and some items you're going to lose on. And I think you have to let go of the attachment that you feel to buying an item because you think it was worth money, or you think it's worth more than it actually is, or you think it's worth more than someone's prepared to pay for it. And I think that's tricky.
One of the ways I look at that is, and it was a hard lesson for me to learn looking back, was learning to cut your losses, as I would put it. You know what I mean? And not stress about the fact that you made a bad buy, because all of the stuff that you've sold for profit outweighs that. All you need to do is just cash that in for whatever you can get back on it. It really doesn't matter. And like you said, the fact that you spent too much on it, you spent that money 6 months ago. It's gone. Get over it. Give it to charity if you have to. Just get it out of your life and move on and cut your losses. And that was a hard lesson for me to get over.
Yes, I think especially for I really feel like when you first start reselling, you hold more attachment to your items, and I got no attachment anymore. Is that echoing?
I can't hear it. I don't know if anyone in the chat can hear it.
I can hear it.
Oh, E-Bliss says that Mel, Nick and Paul, Philly, Flipper are real people. That's why we enjoy your videos. That's a lovely comment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm just trying to see if I've got a real echo.
Oh. Can you hear it in the chat?
Yes, it is, Mel.
Let me mute and come back out.
I can't even get my AirPods to work. They must be dead. Sorry.
Did that help?
Yep, it has. That was weird. Oh, there you go. Somebody said they can hear it. Okay.
Blame me. Everybody else does. It's fine.
I can see. I just saw another super chat. Nicoma finds. Thank you. That's such great advice. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I always feel weird. I still feel weird getting super chats, but I really do appreciate it. So thank you. It's a weird thing for me to get used to, and I've talked a lot about that with Nick over the last year or so, like getting used to that.
Just accepting it with a smile on your face takes a lot of work. It is weird, isn't it? It probably is weird, but it's a wonderful thing. And I hope that advice was helpful. The other thing to bear in mind is, no matter who you're looking at, they started exactly where you are at some point. And believe me, they made all the mistakes you're about to make as a newbie. So don't worry when you screw it up. As you've seen in my recent videos, I screw it up on a daily basis. I've been doing it for 20 years.
The only way to learn is if you make a mistake, really. You learn from making your mistakes, or you learn from a good buy, or you learn from a bad buy.
True facts.
I think
no headphones, Nick. No, I don't do the headphone thing.
It might be mine. I don't know. But we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes, so we probably should. It's pretty late for you guys there in the UK. I'll just say there's a question here. Hold on. Just out of interest, do you both cross-list your items, eBay, Depop, Etsy, or just full-time on eBay? I'm just full-time on eBay. I don't cross-list anything.
I was doing eBay and Amazon, although they wouldn't tend to be cross-listed because I was doing Amazon FBA, although a lot of that has changed. I might still do a video soon about my opinions on Amazon at the minute. But my wife certainly cross-lists on several platforms, particularly eBay to Etsy works really well. But yeah, I know some people have been trying out here in the UK cross-listing like programs that you can use, apps and stuff, which make that whole process a lot easier. I'm not really, it's not really my thing, but yeah.
There you go. I don't enjoy the part of reselling that gives you inconsistent income. You can't buy a house and initiate any serious financial projects. Part-time is the best approach, in my opinion.
Part-time gives you the best of both worlds, as in the security from a set wage and the ability to work on something to earn that extra bit. But I would say that we didn't even have a mortgage when we started reselling. The whole of our buying a house, paying it off happened through reselling. So it is possible, but it is not an easy ask. But I wouldn't rule it out, is what I'm trying to say.
I've got my husband's income, so that obviously helps us. And, you know, I've been at home for 20 years with 4 kids. So, you know, I've kind of just always had low income as I've done my own thing just to give us that extra income on the side. But, yeah, I think for me, I would find it hard if I didn't have Aaron's income. Definitely, I would find reselling hard. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, getting a mortgage these days is a lot harder task. You have to jump through a lot more hoops than we did when we bought first time. So yeah, I get what you're saying, totally.
I don't sell to the US. Nic does.
Yeah, I've no idea what the percentage is. A lot less than it used to be.
Yeah.
For me.
There you go. Righto. We might finish it off. We've been on nearly an hour and a half, and I'm conscious of your time, but I've had a great chat today. I really enjoyed it. You know, I really enjoyed the support that you've given me, Nic, over the last couple of years, and the friendship that we've made through YouTube. Really, we met through YouTube, and, you know, we've become good friends. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your time coming on here and having a chat with everyone today.
It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad you invited me on, and we are planning to do something on my channel soon. So when that will be and what it will be about, who knows? But it will be coming up soon, right? It'll
come up. Maybe I'll be in the shed.
Yes.
Have all my chat behind me.
Yes. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic watching your business grow and change and evolve. And as this chat was about, that's what it's all about, right? Taking a chance.
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
And good luck with your app.
Oh, I know. Soon.
Exciting. Can't wait to see it. Even though I'm in Australia, I'm still going to buy it and have it on my phone as support.
Oh, no, wait. It's free. It's going to be free.
What? Really? How do you make money off that then?
Ads.
Oh, okay. Everything's about the ads, isn't it?
Everything's about the ads these days. Yeah.
Rightio. We will finish it up here. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. I really appreciate you all being here. Don't forget to hit the like on your way out because it helps me. And yeah, until next time, thank you. See you guys.